Readings of Agrippa, and what things are governed by Jupiter. Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. This is Taliesin McKnight. And happy Thursday everyone. Today we are delving into the 3 books of occult philosophy published in the 16th century. Book 1, Chapter 26. What things are governed by Jupiter? So we can flip to this chapter and instantly see what stones, what plants are associated with Jupiter. So if you wanted to make a Jupiter oil to dress or anoint candles, or if you wanted to take a stone or a metal and make an amulet to Jupiter, or even foods, you can burn some Jupiter incense, which the Jupiter incense is in here. And you could even burn some Jupiter incense and bless food for yourself to take. Or even, there are different views on the ethics of this, but my view is that magic in general should be secret. If someone, if you want to affect a target, you could also have them eat the food. But some people say you should always ask. So there are different views, and it's good to have diversity of opinions. My personal view is that normally I don't talk about magic that I'm doing. But if you want to make Jupiter oil, or you want to burn a Jupiter incense, according to Agrippa in the 16th century, or you want to take a stone as a Jupiter talisman, or whatever you'd like to do, or you want to work with an oak branch to connect with Jupiter so that you have a material thing to connect with an invisible power. Magic is often about having material things such as stones, plants, and animals that correspond to invisible, all-pervading powers. So, without further ado, the 3 books of occult philosophy, Book 1, Chapter 26, what things are under the power of Jupiter and are called jovial. Things under Jupiter amongst elements are the air. So the 4 elements are divided amongst the 7 planets. Jupiter governs air, which makes sense because Jupiter, or Jove, or Zeus, in the Greek pantheon, Jupiter was the god of the sky. Okay, so Jupiter ruled the heavens. He was the sky god for the Roman pantheon. Equivalent for the Greeks to Zeus, god of the sky. You could even say like Marduk or whatever, different Tyrannus. Some people they equate these as those powers too. So Jupiter rules the air. Things under Jupiter amongst elements are the air. So if you're looking for signs of Jupiter, it may be things in the clouds, things in the heavens, birds that are winged and fly. Amongst humors, blood and the spirit of life. Blood is often associated with air. Of the 4 humors, yellow color to fire, phlegm to water, black bile or melancholy to earth. So it makes sense, air and blood and the spirit of life. And also, all things which respect the increase, nourishment, and vegetation of the life. So anything that has to do with growth and nourishment and vegetative growth. Dana says, or Dana, I apologize, however you say that, says, hello from South Carolina. This is my favorite subject. You're killing it with the constant lessons. Well, thank you very much. I only hope that in in my reading, I do some sort of justice and help out with this, which I love doing these videos because, you know, people like you and me, we love Agrippa and we read it, but there are a lot of people that probably they'd feel intimidated or they don't really read Agrippa, so hopefully these videos get more people reading Agrippa. So, I apologize, I do a lot of repetition, but I think it's good to really ingrain it. Things under Jupiter amongst elements are the air, amongst humors, blood, and the spirit of life. Also all things which respect the increased nourishment and vegetation of the life. Amongst tastes, now we're getting into food. By the way, sugar is governed by Agrippa. It'll say that later on, sugar. So a lot of people working with sugar bowls and sugar magic, that is Jupiterian. And what is Jupiter? Jupiter governs, amongst many other things, friendliness also, and congeniality, and people getting along. Also like bossiness and authority, so, but also like a jovial nature, joyful, and so amongst tastes, such as are sweet and pleasant. So anything that has a sweet taste and is pleasant. You know, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, you know. A lot of people are going to be eating chocolate. And amongst tastes, such as are sweet and pleasant. Amongst metals, tin. Hi, Lateriona. It's great to see you here. Amongst metals, tin. Pretty standard, tin. And silver and gold, by reason of their temperateness. So not just tin is a metal of Jupiter, but silver and gold also. And of course silver is also the moon, and gold the sun. So you'll see different, you'll see plants and stones and animals associated with more than one planet. And that's where the invocation and the burning of incense and the focus and planetary hour, things like that, help to hone in on one planet. So amongst metals, tin, silver, and gold, by reason of their temperateness. The footnote says, temperateness means the ease with which they may be worked. Amongst stones, the hyacinth. The hyacinth. Now, what is hyacinth? It says hyacinth, beryl, sapphire, the emerald, green jasper, and airy colors. So, what is hyacinth here? So, for that, we need to go back to the footnote a couple of chapters back. 3 chapters back. Note 8. Hyacinth, for Pliny. It's not Pliny. That's what I said for years, sadly. It's Pliny the Elder, writing in the 1st century. So this is 2,000 years ago. Again, Pliny the Elder wrote his Historia Naturalis, or natural history, which served as a type of like World Book encyclopedia. Throughout the Middle Ages and Renaissance, people were reading Pliny. He actually died in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. But Pliny the Elder, he was an encyclopedist. He wrote through his natural history, which still exists, by the way, he wrote down everything that the ancient Romans knew about the natural world. So the footnote on hyacinth, 3 chapters back, for Pliny, hyacinthus is the blue sapphire. So blue sapphire, of course, would be Jupiter. It says here in the Book of Secrets, which is a 13th century text associated with Albertus Magnus. Some people say that it's pseudo-Albertus Magnus, but it's from the 13th century, the Book of Secrets, one of Agrippa's source books. In the Book of Secrets, it's become yellow. And the solar stone, due to an error on the part of the Latin copyist, who changed blavus, blue, of Albertus Magnus into flavus, or yellow. And it is written of this in Lectures of Philosophers, Now it's quoting from the 13th century Book of Secrets. And it is written of this in lectures of philosophers, that it being borne on the finger or neck maketh strangers sure and acceptable to their guests. Okay, so we know that from Pliny, the hyacinth is the blue sapphire. So of Jupiter amongst stones, the hyacinth, that's blue sapphire. Beryl, sapphire, it's a repetition. The emerald, green jasper, and airy colors. Once again, some of these stones are associated with other planets also. So you'll see multiple planetary associations of different stones and things. Among stones, the hyacinth or blue sapphire, beryl, sapphire, the emerald, green jasper, and airy colors. Amongst plants and trees, sea green. Now this is interesting, sea green. Sea green is sempervivum tectorum, the house leek, also called thunder plant, or Jove's beard, or Jupiter's beard. Now, this is interesting because I was doing research on this plant. It was used throughout the Renaissance and Middle Ages to avoid lightning strikes on rooftops. So people would plant this Jupiterian plant, the house leek. Sempervivum tectorum is the Latin name of the plant. The house leek or singreen, also called thunder plant. Throughout the Renaissance and Middle Ages, people would grow this plant on their rooftops to avoid lightning strikes to their roofs. And of course, Jupiter governs lightning. And this actually goes back to ancient Greco-Roman times. Again, we're seeing a continuation of magic from late antiquity, throughout the Renaissance, throughout in Middle Ages and Renaissance, up to Agrippa. Agrippa is reading Pliny the Elder. Agrippa is looking at classical material. He didn't see himself as an innovator, but as someone that carries on these traditions. So that's interesting, the thunder plant. The footnote says, sea green or sin green, the house leek, sempervivum tectorum, an herb with rich, thick, succulent leaves and stem and pink flowers that grows on the tops of houses, and was often deliberately placed there to ward off lightning. Pretty cool. And like I said, this thunder plant, or Jupiter's beard, was put on rooftops all the way back 2,000 years of magic. So this is a very strongly Jupiterian plant. So amongst plants and trees, sea green, or the house leek I'm talking about. Garden basil, that is the basil you use in kitchens. So basil is Jupiterian. If you're trying to make any kind of Jupiter oil or incense, you could add some kitchen basil. Bug loss. Bug loss is the Italian alkanet. That's bug loss, Italian alkanet. Mace, and mace is actually the husk of nutmeg used as a spice. So we use nutmeg. Mace is actually the husk around nutmeg. So mace and nutmeg are two different things, but mace is of Jupiter, the husk of nutmeg, used as a spice. So if you have some mace, some basil, you're already starting to build out what could be ingredients for a Jupiter incense or oil or powder. And that's Agrippan Renaissance magic. Mints, so any kind of mint. It could be peppermint, any kind of a mint is Jupiterian. So right there, basil, mace, mints, spike, which is French lavender, Lavandula spica, from which a sweet-smelling oil is extracted. Mastic, so mastic is a common incense. Mastic, right there, Jupiter. Elecampane, also called horse heel, An herb with large yellow flowers and bitter aromatic leaves and root, used as a tonic and stimulant. It was burned as a fragrant incense. So that's elecampane or horseheal. The violet. So violets are associated with Jupiter. Violets, very beautiful flower. Darnel, it's a kind of grass, Lolium temulentum, that grows as a weed among corn. Henbane. Henbane. So henbane is associated, insane in the henbane. Okay. Insane in the brain. Alright. Henbane, narcotic plant, used to deaden pain. So interesting. Henbane, the poplar tree, and those which are called lucky trees as the oak. Hi Sarah, how are you doing today? So oak is associated with Jupiter, and the oak was associated with Jupiter in classical times. So the oak tree is very Jupiterian. The oak. So, and those that are called lucky trees as the oak. The tree Aesculus, the chestnut oak, which is like an oak but much bigger. And the holm tree, so that's holly. So the holly. The oak tree, the hazel tree. A lot of time wands are made from hazel. That's Jupiterian here. The service tree, the white fig tree, the pear tree. A lot of fruit-bearing trees are associated with Jupiter. So the pear tree, the apple tree could also be associated with Venus. So there's multiple planetary associations here of the apple. So the hazel tree, the service tree, the white fig tree, the pear tree, the apple tree, the vine, the plum tree, the ash, the dog tree or dogwood, and the olive tree, and also oil. So olive oil would then perhaps be a good base oil, and you could add the other oils to it for a Jupiter oil to anoint candles or objects of Jupiter and their consecration. Also, all manner of corn. Now, we as Americans, we think of corn as like corn on the cob, but corn, actually, if you look at like old literature, corn actually means any kind of cereal like wheat in some cases. So it says all manner of corn as barley, wheat, also raisins, licorice, sugar. Right here, sugar. And again, Jupiter governs sweet and pleasant tastes. So sugar is of Jupiter. And all such things whose sweetness is manifest and subtle, partaking somewhat of an astringent and sharp taste, as are nuts, almonds, pineapples. Pineapples are associated with Jupiter. Filberts, pistachio nuts, roots of peony, myrobalos, rhubarb, and manna. Now, what is manna here? A sweet, pale yellow or white granulated sap that drips from incisions made on the manna ash tree, the Fraxinus ornis, which grows in Sicily. Orpheus adds storax. So what is Agrippa saying here when he says that Orpheus adds storax? Well, if you go to the Orphic hymns, which come down to us from late antiquity, the Orphic hymns, if you look at the Orphic hymn of Jupiter, it says that the incense that goes with the Orphic hymn to Jupiter is actually the storax. So that's interesting. So Agrippa's reading the Orphic hymns from late antiquity. Orpheus adds storax. Where Agrippa says Orpheus adds storax, he's talking about the Orphic hymn to Jupiter. Amongst animals. So now we're getting into animals. Things that we could see in nature. Amongst animals, such as have some stateliness and wisdom in them, and those which are mild, well trained up, and of good disposition, as the hart. What is a hart? It's a male deer. A hart is a stag or a male deer. The hart, elephant, and those which are gentle, as sheep and lambs. Amongst birds, so remember how important bird omens were. In Agrippa, there's a whole chapter. There's a whole chapter in Agrippa on how to read bird omens. I've been reading that lately. It's pretty cool. Amongst birds, those that are of a temperate complexion, as hens, together with the yolk of their eggs. Now note that for Agrippa, the white of eggs, the egg white, is the moon. So egg whites are governed by the moon, but the yellow yolk is associated with Jupiter. Hens together with the yolk of their eggs, also the partridge, the pheasant, the swallow, the pelican, the cuckoo, the stork, birds given to a kind of devotion, which are emblematic of gratitude. Again, in Agrippa, we're getting into animal mythology. If you look at like classical literature on the natural world, it was not from this modern analytical, everything is precise according to like measured. It wasn't such a what we would call a scientific rationalistic view. There was often a moral lesson with animals. So with animals, everything was sacred. Everything was part of the divine. There would often be a moral lesson or some type of a deeper teaching in animals. We have animal mythology and symbolism. Birds given to a kind of devotion which are emblems of gratitude. The eagle is dedicated to Jupiter. The eagle, definitely, is dedicated to Jupiter. She is the ensign of emperors and an emblem of justice and clemency. Amongst fish, the dolphin, the fish called Ankia, the sheath fish, by reason of his devoutness. So, very, very interesting. The sheath fish, a large freshwater fish, Silurus glanus, found in the rivers of Eastern Europe. So, that's pretty cool. Now, these videos are meant to be reference videos. Anytime that you want to go over Jupiter things in Agrippa, people can go back to this video for reference. So that's why I'm making these videos. It's not intended to just be a one-time thing. Whenever people want to go back, and of course people can just read it also, but that's what these are for. It's a reference, these videos. And on YouTube there's an Agrippa playlist, and pinned to the top of my Facebook profile is this playlist, so people can go through and review these. So that is the 3 books of occult philosophy, Book 1, Chapter 26, Things Governed by Agrippa. We are working through these chapters one by one, so it's going to be really great. So anyways, that's it for today. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Thursday, a wonderful day today. People will be watching these videos for a while, but those that are watching it now, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so I wanted to wish everyone a happy Valentine's, which has nothing to do with Agrippa. It's just I happen to be publishing this video on February 13th. But anyways, that is all about Agrippa and the things of Jupiter. Again, thank you, my lovely girlfriend there, comment. So, we can use these plants and stones and things to make amulets, to make Jupiter oil, to make Jupiter incense. things to carry around, all of these things to look for Jupiter's signs in the natural world, things that you see in dreams, astral projection, things like that, kind of a more modern practice. It was used anciently, but we don't see a lot of it in the Renaissance writings, probably because of Christian influence, the idea of the soul leaving the body. But those are things of Jupiter. Okay, before I close this, I don't want to leave anyone hanging here. It says, do you do Q&A live videos? Live follow-ups? I don't. Honestly, I get kind of nervous. That's actually not a bad idea, you know. Do you do Q&A? I just hope that I would really understand the subject enough to properly answer a question. So, that's an interesting idea. If I felt that I had the requisite knowledge, because I'm always doing magic and I'm always studying, but I never feel like I really understand a topic. I'm constantly struck by the lack of what I know. I think humility is important. Like, I have so much to learn. But if I feel that I have like the requisite knowledge, I would definitely be cool with a Q&A. So that's a very good question. And that's a very nice suggestion and a comment. Maybe I might start doing those. We'll see how it goes. So thank you for the suggestion. And thank you everyone for watching my video. Thank you for being on this spiritual journey with me. We are in this together as spiritual seekers. And I will see y'all in the next video. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will see y'all next time. Have a great day, y'all.